Hey, good evening, Award Travel 101. It's that time again. It's Tuesday. I can't believe it. My name is Richard Kerr, and I'm your founder. And tonight we are talking Mexico on points and miles. Something I never thought I would be talking about, but I had such a dadgum good time about a week and a half ago in Mexico that I decided it was time to share everything that I learned, not just Mexico City, but a few options for getting around Mexico. I'm going to get settled here with my notes like I always do. Everybody, please welcome moderator Tony, who is working very hard in the background like always. I have the easy job, and she has to keep up with me and all my links and notes that I feed her at the very last second because we had something come up and we're going an hour earlier tonight. So Tony, thanks as always for your work. Hey, you're going to see me glance off to my side pretty often. I've got another monitor over here where my moderators are talking to me, and they are writing down all of your questions, and I hope you have a lot this evening asking about our neighbor to the south, Mexico, which I just don't know why it's not getting the love that it should. So we all hear about Cancun and Cozumel, but Mexico City and all the other regions that the country has to offer. I was kind of blown away, really. It's been a long time since the destination has surprised me that much, even though I was almost expecting a surprise based off of recent reviews I heard, and I hope to share some of this information about how to do it all on points and miles tonight. Hey, no bourbon tonight. I am going to get serious about this getting in shape stuff, so everybody watch out over the next few weeks as we transform a little bit and get a little bit healthier. Hey, tell me in the comments where you're tuning in from. I love seeing the reach of Award Travel 101. And a few events to talk about before I go right into Mexico on points and miles. Number one, Frequent Traveler University. This is June 9th and 10th in New York City, right in the middle of Manhattan. Pretty excited about it. Very excited to be able to speak once again. If you want to come in here as talk in person, and it's not just me, I am not the Frequent Traveler University. A whole organization puts these great meetups on, and they have experts from all across points, miles, travel, aviation, hotels come and tell you a lot of really neat things. I learn something every time. Tony's going to put the link up to that right there if you want to buy a ticket for it. It's a whole weekend experience, and I will be there presenting on my soup du jour, I'll call it, which is award spot redemptions that give you extreme value. There's a link that I see right there. Hey, ask your questions tonight. Anything you want to know, Tony's going to write it down on my moderator document, and I'm going to get back to it. I got a little surprise for you, so thanks for tuning in. If you don't have plans for Memorial Day weekend yet, I want you to go ahead and pencil that in with a big AT101. We're going to hopefully be announcing something any day now that I am super excited about, and it's going to make for an absolutely fantastic, one-of-a-kind Memorial Day weekend where we're going to have a ridiculous amount of fun, more than I could ever provide by myself. West Palm Beach. I got to talk about West Palm Beach. Got some properties down there that been meaning to check out. Saw you tuning in there. All right, so Memorial Day weekend, pencil it in. More details to be shared later. As always, you can catch a replay of this and all of our past lives on the YouTube channel, as well as some walkthroughs of properties, cruise ships that I do as I travel. We put them up. Tony's going to share that link to our YouTube channel. Pretty easy to remember. You can always support the group. Consider getting your next rewards earning credit card through the links in the pinned announcement. Protect your credit score, right? That's what everything falls underneath, the umbrella of protecting your credit score. Make sure you can meet minimum spend, never carry a balance, get just as smart on how to use those points and miles effectively as you are in earning them, right? So support the group, doesn't cost you anything. Really appreciate it if you decide to use our links. Tony, actually go ahead and share me the link to our video frequently asked questions series that's not getting enough love. If you have a question, you can't find it in the group when you use the search function before submitting a post. Hey, head to that frequently asked question video series. It's very short, 1 or 2 minute clips of myself and moderator Rachel Berkey answering some of the questions that we get asked all the time. Car rentals, global entry, pre-check, what card should I get next? All that goodness is in there, and Tony's going to put that link up. All right. With all of that said, let's get right into Mexico and address the very first question most people had, including my family, and why Emily was a little bit upset I was going to go by myself, and that's the safety of Mexico today. There's a lot of politics involved for reasons I won't go into, but is in the news every day. That, in my opinion, has resulted in the State Department issuing several different travel warnings for the country of Mexico based on the region that you're going to visit. Tony's going to put a link up to a map that the State Department has created. You can click on the region that you want to visit, and it'll tell you notes about, hey, what's going on here? This is what we recommend. These are recent reports. And quite honestly, you need to be careful. So it's like anywhere you travel in the world, keep your wits about you. Don't show your bling off. Don't carry your wallet right here with stuff full of cash. Don't have your $2,000 Rolex going to the Mexico City subway. Anybody who lives there will tell you these things. It's not really that big a deal. I felt incredibly safe in Mexico City. What you need to be concerned about are the cartel activity in the border regions and, quite frankly now, in the resort towns of South Baja out on the peninsula. So last August there was a shooting in the Hyatt there. Went through the lobby. 3 people were killed. They were not targeting tourists or foreigners as far as everybody can tell. It's all cartel related violence, and you don't want to get caught in the middle of that. So beware of your surroundings. Read recent reports. We have plenty of Mexican nationals, expatriates in the group if you really want to know. Put it on Where to Go Wednesday, and some of the people who are very familiar with these regions will reach out and answer all of your concerns and your questions. So the next big thing that has really been in the news a lot as far as safety is, of course, the tainted alcohol. So in the last 3 to 4 months, there's been over 100 reports from American citizens of blacking out shortly after drinking something, and unfortunately a few deaths caused because we're not really sure what's going on. As far as the all-inclusive resorts are having problem getting tainted homemade fake alcohol. My advice, if you're going to go to those resorts, keep an eye on the bar. Are they opening up a sealed bottle you recognize? If you can't be sure, stick to beer, right? So a lot less chances that that's going to be counterfeit. You can see that the bottle is sealed and open in front of you. And it's really something to be wary of. There was another bust this weekend. I've just been keeping tuned to the Mexico City news since I left. And a really big bust of the fake alcohol. They were not sure where it was headed, but it's something you need to be concerned about. And it's something that I definitely think the Mexican government is taking seriously and trying to step in. So all of that said, these risks are similar to many, many other places that you would go in the world. And there was, like I said, I had no concerns whatsoever in Mexico City. Cop on every corner. People incredibly friendly. I not once ran into a sketchy situation that I've faced in Southeast Asia, in China, Philippines, all of these crazy places, right? Nothing like that, okay? My heart rate never went above resting, except when you're climbing up to the castle because you're in 7,000 foot altitude. Besides that, there was nothing that ever made my spider sense go off. Wonderful place. Do not be concerned about Mexico City, and most likely in the resort areas that are over in the Gulf of Mexico. When you get further west, when you get to the border towns, that's when it's time to turn that spider sense all the way up and be aware of your surroundings. But I would have no reservations whatsoever and headed to Mexico to visit. So that's the spiel. That's what everybody really wanted to know, what my family and friends were curious about, why I was going there. Is it safe? Absolutely. Go, take precautions, be aware of the regions you're going to. If you're going to be going to the border regions or the states that are listed on the State Department, not that there's really much tourism industry to go up there, you really should reconsider those aspects. So, with all that said, I'm going to cover 2 main topics, which is flights to Mexico, as well as some hotel properties that you need to look at using points and miles. I'm going to start with flights. Relatively straightforward, relatively easy. Just a few things I really want to impress. If you have questions about any of this, comments, opinions on my observations of visiting Mexico, please put it in the comments so I can take a look. And Tony's got everything else going on. Moderator Tony did bring up a great point. Great Britain, the United Kingdom, has very similar travel alerts for their citizens to places in the world. So go check out the United Kingdom travel alerts for British citizens to see what they say about Mexico. Great point, Tony. Thanks for bringing that up. Hey, flights. We're going to go down legacy carriers, and we're going to talk about a few different options. American Airlines, 15,000 miles in economy one way at the saver level from anywhere in the contiguous U.S. to Mexico. Not bad. What I've really liked about this and surprising is I searched from Atlanta to Mexico City, and the calendar was almost wide open. Roughly 25 days of the month had a saver seat at 15,000 points in economy open. Saver seat in business or first. These are all narrow bodies that they fly down. Dallas, Chicago, Phoenix. No real surprises. Los Angeles. 25,000 in narrow body domestic first products, really, even though it's an international flight. So 15K, 25K. Delta, 17,500 miles in economy one way at the lowest level. Now, Delta's not going to publish this, but from my searches, I never saw less than 17,500 miles one way. 30,000 one way in business, so 5,000 more than American. Again, availability to Mexico pretty wide open, depending on the city you're going to. If you want to go to Cancun on spring break, well, guess what? You're going to pay more. Nobody should be surprised by that. Down to United, 17,500 one way in economy, the exact same as Delta. And 30,000 one way in business. So pretty much the exact same price as a Delta. But remember, here's where we can do some really cool things with United. We're going to be talking about the Excursionist perk. If you have not read the article on the Points Guy I wrote about the Excursionist, it breaks it all down for you. You should really do that. I talk about it in the group, so go to the Award Travel 101 group search function and search Excursionist. A lot of examples there. Mexico is its very own region in the United award chart. Pretty weird, don't know why they do it, but that means you can have an inter-Mexico flight for free if you can find a Star Alliance carrier to do that. Now, there is no Star Alliance carrier that does that, so what you need to do is really create an excursionist itinerary with Mexico being your beginning and ending point. What you can do is fly from Mexico down to northern South America, which includes the Galapagos Islands, Colombia, check out Ecuador, and then fly back to Mexico, and those inner northern South America flights are going to be free. This is going to sound really confusing if you have no idea what I'm talking about, but you need to go and research the United Excursionist. Head to the Google machine, head to the Award Travel 101 search feature, and recognize that using Mexico as a beginning and ending point, you can get a whole lot of expensive flights for no more miles, okay? You need to be aware of the United Excursionist, and you really should, in my opinion, tag on an entire tour of Central America, Northern South America, if you're going to be visiting Mexico using United Miles, because you're throwing away extremely valuable flights for free if you do not do that. That example is in the group United Excursionist Award Travel 101. You're going to see a nifty map of all the places you can visit for very few United Miles. All right, let's go to Southwest. Hey, pretty extensive route network in Southwest. Moderator Tony flew nonstop from Denver to Cancun. That is a pretty freaking sweet route that they fly there. And, of course, the most overlooked, under-talked about Southwest tool is that low fare calendar. Tony's going to share the link to that low fare calendar right now so that you can put in the route you want to fly and find over the course of an entire month when it's going to cost the least amount of money and the least amount of points. My home base here in Atlanta, I did a very quick search down to Mexico City and down to Cancun. I really expected it to be more expensive. I did it in April, and $123 one way, Atlanta to Cancun. April spring break, peak season, a lot of people going there. Very few points. 4,464 points. Remember, it's an international flight, so you're going to have to pay taxes and fees. I was a little worried about what this would be, only $33. So 4,464 points, $33 in taxes and fees, and I'm going to Mexico from Atlanta. No problem, right? So that means companion pass, none of these huge fees, like if you want to fly Southwest down to Central America, they sometimes tag you with $150 fees. Hey, look, $33. My son's flying with me. Deb says that she flew Albuquerque to San Diego. SJD, 4 hours, no big deal. If you're going to be going down to Mexico, in my opinion, unless you're doing a United Excursionist, it's very hard to justify burning those miles because you've got Southwest and you have the low-cost carriers like Interjet, Interjet, Interjet. Probably the most interesting thing that the aviation geek in me found was that they fly the new Russian-made SJ-100 regional planes. Would be a super cool ride if you're an aviation geek. Never flown one of those before. Didn't realize anybody over here was operating those outside of the Eastern European bloc or Aeroflot. So low-cost carrier, brand new airplane that barely anybody flies in this hemisphere. Round trip to Mexico. You're talking a couple $100. Always keep an eye on those bag fees. We have several people who have flown and know the in and outs of Interjet. Just ask on where to go Wednesday, tomorrow, and I'm sure some people will give you some tips. One more thing we're going to talk about on flights is the Tijuana Cross Border Express. Tony's going to share the link to this. If you're in San Diego, really awesome thing that exists now. A pedestrian-only bridge from San Diego, the United States, into the Tijuana airport, and from there you can fly over 50 destinations with Aeromexico, and you can often pay a lot less money than if you were staying in the United States. So, Tony put up that link for me. Excuse me. Oh, I forgot my water. And make sure that you look at all the fares coming out of Tijuana. All right, hotels. We're going to start in Mexico City based on my own experience. I stayed at the Hyatt Regency. Really fantastically priced, so 12,000 points a night. The only downside was the lounge was definitely one of the bottom 25% lounges that I've been to from a service and food perspective and cleanliness. But the lobby and the public spaces were great. I got upgraded to a wonderful suite. And no real complaints there. The area that I stayed in is a little bit far away from the historic city center. With the traffic of Mexico City, that can be a really big problem. 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. However, you are close to the castle. You're close to the huge park behind you. Anthropology Museum. So I would definitely recommend staying in that area. Hey, look, Emily's really sweet and brought me some water. Thank you so much. Every good man has a better spouse behind him. Don't let anybody else think anything different. That was really nice. Hey, this is the Polanco area. Right next door to the Hyatt Regency, you have JW Marriott, you have the Intercontinental, and a few other boutique hotels. Tons of restaurants to go around in this area. Hey, it's only water tonight, no bourbon. And the point value here is really hard to beat. JW Marriott, 30,000 points or 10,000 SPG. Intercontinental, 30,000 points, pretty good. And then as you move closer to the Zocalo, the historic city center, you get to properties like the Hampton Inn, which is in an 1800s building. 20,000 Hyatt points a night. Walk out your door and you see all the historic city center sites. You see the main square, UNESCO heritage site with all the Aztec ruins. 20,000 points. For the next couple of years, I foresee Mexico City, from a points perspective with hotels, staying significantly underpriced about where it should be. Eventually, people like me are going to get the word out about Mexico City, and these hotels are going to adjust their prices. So for now, I would highly suggest you go and take advantage of the few amount of points. My big bonus for the trip, I had a super early 6 a.m. flight out of the airport. The airport is on the other side of the city from the Hyatt Regency. It was going to be a long ride. You don't know what traffic's going to do. So I stayed at the brand new Courtyard Mexico City Airport. 15,000 Marriott points, which is nothing for Marriott points. And the room was going for $250 a night. The night after me, it was going for $400 a night. There's only two, national, international chain hotels at the airport. And they are so packed, they're so crowded that I felt like this is a huge jackpot. So if you're going to be flying in super late to Mexico City, you don't want to mess with traffic to get to your hotel. You got an early flight out the next morning, 15,000 points for a super expensive Courtyard hotel. Great deal there, nobody talks about. You've also got a St. Regis with a really high expectation in the city. You got a W. I walked in the Sheraton lobby. I would not recommend that property based off of my first impressions. The other option you need to look at with Mexico City is Airbnb. People sent me a lot of really, really impressive, fantastic, right price Airbnbs that are going to give a family or a traveling group of friends a whole lot of value in these same wonderful neighborhoods with tons of places to go to walk and get a drink, get some really good, traditional, authentic Mexican food. And I would be hard pressed if I went again, especially with my family, to not take a look at some of these Airbnb. Now remember, you can use your Barclay card or Rival Plus points to cover those Airbnb charges, or a host of any of your cashback cards to help subsidize those costs. But they're not very much. You're talking $100 for a couple bedroom place in these great neighborhoods. Highly suggest you take a look at that. Right, says Mexico City, what I'm passionate about because of my most recent trip. Once you head to the resorts, you get into this, what I will call a nebulous of knowledge for me. So if there's something I should really sharpen my skills on when it comes to hotels, it would be these all-inclusive, very specific properties like the Sandals, like the Club Meds, like these Royal Palace resorts. I've never had an opportunity to stay there. It's never been an option because I can head to one of the Hyatt all-inclusive in Los Cabos or in Cancun. They're typically more than I would ever want to spend, but some of you guys and gals I know are absolutely loyal and love these places. So I would love to hear your opinions in the comments if you have any recommendations. I had Tony look into some of their loyalty programs as well as me in a few minutes, and I just didn't see anything of value at first glance in like the Club Med program. Tony said that it's a point per dollar. You got to get 100,000 points to get top tier status, i.e., you got to spend $100,000. Not something I'm going to do. If you know anything about this, would love to see it in the comments. Would love to shoot me a message. So you'd be like, hey, you really missed out. These Royal Palace All-Inclusives have this amazing loyalty program. But in my research, I didn't see anything there. And the prices were just way out of my range. Although you can argue it's good value because everything's included. Right? So Cancun, Hyatt Ziva, Hyatt Zilara, these are all-inclusives, provide really, really great value. 20,000 points a night. If you go during peak seasons, these rooms are $600, $700, $800 a night. 20,000 points, and that does include the all-inclusive aspect. One is adults only, one is broken down to families, so don't worry. I know it's a big complaint from a lot of people heading to the resorts. And it's a comment that I hear quite often. Tony's throwing up a comment here that Mexico is 12.5K with AA. From Atlanta, it was 15K, so I would love to see what route that is, unless they broke it down off-peak season there. And Tony's writing me some more notes here. Somebody got the off-peak dates for AA, please throw it into the comments. As well as your favorite resorts that you stayed at that are not typical points and miles resorts. Hey, Cancun, Cozumel, I've been there for cruises. The Senior Frogs and everything is a few years past my ages, but I would love to know what people actually do recommend if you're going to go stay down there. A lovely Fairmont, if you still have Fairmont upgrade certificates or Fairmont suite upgrades, or the free night certificates, is a great place to use it down there. Hear wonderful things about the Fairmont. For something that I really don't think many people recognize or realize, the cheapest full-service Hyatt Regency is in Mexico. It's in the Tabasco region. I don't speak Spanish, so if I butcher this name, please do not hold it against me. But the Hyatt Regency Villahermosa routinely has regular room rates for less than $50, as low as $39. And it is a full-service Hyatt Regency with a executive lounge. I actually would love to screenshot this because I know some of you are really not going to believe it. Todd just asked, is it really safe in Mexico? Please go back and watch the replay where I talk in detail about the traveling to Mexico and the safety of it. So I'm going to pull up this right here, and then we're going to screenshot it. We're going to screen share it. Some concerns about Zika, not in Mexico City. The altitude is too high that there is no Zika from the mosquitoes. All right, so I'm going to screen share secondary display. Here we go. Hyatt Regency Villahermosa. I picked a random date in April. Had no idea what this was going to show up, but it is indeed $45 for the member rate, which is cancelable. $47 for the advanced purchase. Hey, let's take a look at this. It looks pretty nice. Full scale Hyatt Regency. If you want to go do some mattress runs, I'm telling you right now, this is really probably going to be your best place to go. Had a few friends that have gone there and stayed just for that purpose of mattress running, and I don't see or hear any complaints from everything going on at the Hyatt Regency Villahermosa in the Tabasco region. I actually bought my daughter a homemade shirt from the Tabasco region. They're having a big tourism show in the middle of Mexico City when I was there. All the different states were there showing off their crafts that they make. And I bought her a shirt. Sure enough, I got home and her head is too big to fit in the shirt. Even though the shirt fits her, there's no clasp or buttons. So super bummed. If anybody goes down to Tabasco, hey, please pick me up another shirt for my daughter. But I thought $40 for a full-scale Hyatt Regency, absolute craziness. If I'm going to be short a few nights in Hyatt, I'm definitely going to go there. So we've confirmed that the off-peak dates, which I'm still looking for, Tony, if you can find those or somebody can comment, from 15,000 with AA, it drops down to 12,500 miles per person one way in economy. So we got Rick says he flew Southwest from Seattle to Puerto Vallarta. Again, I don't speak Spanish, so if I butcher that, I'm sorry. Round trip, 19,000 per person. That's pretty great. Southwest points, and it's even cheaper than that. Shira says, fun fact, Club Med has its own disease named after it. Not sure I want to hear the story about that. Good grief. Emily says that she's going to fix the shirt for poor Mary. But hey, that's pretty much it. Mexico's a big country. My overarching impression here is that if you haven't gone, go to Mexico City. If you've only done the resort areas of Cancun, Cozumel, Cabo, etc., go to Mexico City. If you are going to head to the resort areas, make sure that you check the travel advisories, do your homework, watch your alcohol. Based on recent reports, sad but true, we need to check it out. If anybody has any questions, now's your time to throw it up before I sign off for the evening. Appreciate everybody being flexible with me. This video also lives, besides our YouTube channel, on our public Facebook page where people continue to comment as long as the video stays up. So I look forward to many people's recommendations as I plan my next trip to Mexico. I would love to go out to some of the cities less talked about, as long as we're not in the border region. Deb says she was pleasantly surprised by Cabo. Hey Tony, do you have anything else for me that I missed or I need to throw up before I sign out? That I need to throw up on the screen. I don't need to throw up. Besides that, remember Frequent Traveler University, June 9th and 10th. I'll be speaking in Manhattan, New York City. If you don't have any plans for Memorial Day, mark it on your calendar, AT101, big space across Friday through Sunday. Don't have the details to share yet, but I really hope to share those any day now, as possibly as early as tomorrow. We're going to have a really great time. Where were the flights for that last Hyatt? So just Google Hyatt Regency via Hermosa, and I'm sure the airport code will show up to you there. I know there is one really close by. It's a rather short ride into the Hyatt, which is in the middle of the city. Christina says, great availability using Avios on American Airlines. Remember, that's even better than flying using American Miles if you can use Avios to find that availability. Yeah, Christina, when I searched the American calendar, it's pretty much wide open for saver availability from Atlanta, which I was pleasantly surprised by. So definitely look to use your Avios there. And remember, if you're going to be taking more than one segment, use Iberia Avios, who charge you on total distance of flight rather than by segment, which British Airways Avios charges you by. All right. Besides that, thanks for tuning in. Same time, same place. Tony working hard in the background. I really appreciate everybody's efforts. Some interviews coming up specifically with the lawyers from killresortfees.com. If you missed my opinion piece on Sunday, I cannot stand resort fees. I'm over it. I'm done with it. We're going to kill it. We're going to talk to subject matter experts in the field, and we're going to figure out what we can do to lobby some folks to hopefully make change with these. Besides that, same time, same place next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.